I get a lot of value out of reading product reviews before I buy anything significant, but I never really thought that a lot of product reviews could be completely misleading. Hi, I'm Jed. This is Cook Culture. So companies can live and die by customer reviews, by product reviews about the things that they make or they sell. So this is great. You can read about all of the product description on the product page, but when you go to the customer testimonials and you understand about it, that gives you a good sense of what the product is all about. But sometimes when you read a review, it can be completely misleading. The customer can sometimes be misleading you. And I'll get to what I mean here. So I'm an endurance runner. I love to run long distance in mountains. I'm pretty hard on my stuff. I run a long way and I live in a temperate rainforest and I put a lot of abuse on my stuff. So when I'm looking for things, I want to buy just the right pair of shoes for what I'm doing. And I want to read reviews that make sense to me, that people have used that pair of shoes in the same way. Everybody that you're going to read that is writing about shoes have run before. They get what they're doing, they've put on the pair of shoes. Those shoes may or may not fit them correctly, or they may work differently than they expected, or whichever. But generally, you can get a good sense from reading the reviews if that's a good pair of shoes or not a good pair of shoes for yourself. What I've come to understand in the world of iron cookware specifically is that iron cookware reviews can be very misleading. So cookware companies aren't going to get perfect grades across the board for the cookware, of course. There are different users using them differently. You know, that you'll have somebody who the seasoning isn't perfect for them, or the handle shape is wrong, or it's too heavy, or whichever, and they're going to give somebody bad marks for that. But what I'm getting at is that there are certain reviews when somebody's looking for cookware that can be so misleading and so harsh to the brand of cookware that for somebody that doesn't know what they're looking for when they're searching for cookware, it can really throw you off. You're like, whoa, that's got to be a really bad pan. There's something really wrong with this pan. Look at that review. It's so horrible. And there's a few here. And oh, I'm going to stay away from this brand and go to a different brand that doesn't have these horrible reviews. So just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about here on the reviews, I'm going to read a few of the reviews. I've cherry-picked these, of course. But I've done this from Amazon because Amazon is a great site that will list the good and the bad and the ugly, right? Where a lot of sites, it's not actually above board, but they will curate their reviews so they all look really great. So some sites really only show maybe 3 and above, 3 stars and above, and that's just how it is. Where Amazon, they just throw it all out there. If it's negative, it's negative because they're a reseller of those products. If they don't stand up, then they just don't sell, and Amazon doesn't care because they've got a gazillion things on their website. So that's why I've used the ones from Amazon. But let me just read these to you so you get a sense of what I'm talking about here. So the OXO carbon steel pan that I've reviewed on this channel that I think is an adequate pan. It works just totally fine. It's a Chinese-made pan from a mass merchandiser. So OXO is a huge company. So you can find these pans generally all over the place. It's very simple to find one. You don't have to really know any secret code or secret sauce to know where to go get one or which one to buy. You're in Target or whatever and you're going to find a carbon steel pan and you can buy it there. So here's first review. 1 out of 5 stars. Waste of money. This pan was overpriced. I followed the instructions on seasoning the pan. It is now rusted and everything I cook has a nasty residue because there's no coating. Who wants to eat food prepared in a rusty pan? Review number 2. Coating chips easily. 1 out of 5 stars. Less than 1 month old. Only use soft spatulas, but the carbon steel coating is chipping off. OXO brushed me off to some other company that doesn't respond to my replacement request submitted via their warranty site. Amazon won't help because beyond 30 days now, guessing I'm out $40 for this piece of junk. Buyer beware. Review number 3, 1 out of 0 stars. Rusting even after proper seasoning. The first skillet was rusted out of the Amazon box. Was exchanged for a new one thinking it was just a mishap. Nope, These skillets suck. After using the pan and following the instructions that came with the pan and washing and carrying started to rust after 2 uses. I then seasoned the pan as per OXO website instructions to help prevent rust. My attached pics, that I'll show you right here, are the pan after only 5 uses of the pan. The pan is super rusted and the coating has started falling off. I have owned other steel pans and were almost daily and did not rust when taken care of properly. I followed the instructions and know how to take care of my kitchenware. These skillets flat out suck. Do not buy, do not waste your money. Meh pan, rusted only after a few uses. I bought this pan to try to replace a traditional nonstick pan because that was the only thing touted by the description. It was nonstick for the first use, despite caring for it as per instructions. After that, it was different than my stainless pan. I made the mistake of making tomato sauce in it, and now it's rusted. At least the rubber handle comes off so I can recycle this piece of junk. I'm really disappointed in this pan. OXO gear is usually fantastic, but not this pan. Okay, let's step it up a bit. Mineral B, one of my all-time favorites. 1 out of 5 stars, rusted. We seasoned and cleaned as directed on the package. It's dried properly, and every time I go to use it, there's rust on it. I've had this for less than a month. I don't understand why it would rust already, and my return window has closed. Sigh, wasted $90. 1 out of 5 stars, hard to clean. It's hard to clean, keep getting rusty. You're gonna have to season it every week. 1 out of 5 stars, disappointed. Purchased this pan plus the recommended wax for seasoning. The wax did not season the pan well. Tried seasoning with salt and potato skins, and then with just canola oil. Expecting the industrial type pan instead of the one of a pan that I got that I need to treat better than a baby's bottom. I purchased this pan mainly for cooking eggs. If I use this pan for anything other than eggs, I've just got eggs sticking to the pan and the pan needs to be re-seasoned. I always clean this pan by heating up and then adding water. Soap has never touched this pan. This pan is the most finicky thing I've ever owned. Okay, last one here, last pan. The Made In carbon steel high quality pan. So Made In is omnipresent on the internet. It's all over the place. You know, they've sold heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of their carbon steel pan. It was one of their first kind of go-to-market things that they had. And so I've used it. It's a good pan. I have no qualms with it. It works just totally fine. It's made in France. It's a heavyweight. It's got a nice handle. It's comfortable. It's totally fine. I've reviewed it on the channel. You can take a look at that. 1 out of 5 stars. No even heat. This pan looks and feels nice, but the pan doesn't heat evenly. Some parts burn food while other parts barely brown it. Not functional. Terrible pan. 1 out of 5 stars. Terrible pan. We'll be returning it today. Absolute waste of money. I had very high hopes after I read about this pan. Once it arrived, I went through the manual, read everything word by word, right from the first cooking till 4th one today. It had been a nightmare to use this pan. The food keeps getting stuck on the bottom. Have absolutely no clue why it is happening. I coated the pan with oil as per instructions, left the pan coated for several days, yet food keeps getting stuck. If one patch here and there, not any specific place. I'm not sure if I got a defective pan shipped to me, but hugely disappointed knowing it's imported pan, but very well rated online by chefs. I'm returning mine today. Not good experience for sure. 1 out of 5 stars. Can't get it clean. Okay, I especially like this one. Made eggs the first time, perfect. Cooked sausages second time, unable to get clean, even after scrubbing, soaking, and even magic eraser. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, but okay, that's probably enough, and I think you get my point. So this is like buying a car, right, without taking driving lessons, leaving the lot, crashing the car, going back to the car lot and complaining that the car is broken, right? Like, oh, it's a defective car, I crashed a car. Like, it's just mind-blowing. So if you're a new viewer to this channel, I hope you found those entertaining. But if you're not, my point is, like everybody who knows what I'm talking about, take a seat. I'm talking to you if you are looking for a new pan. So being dissuaded by any of these kind of reviews that sound like a car crash, they are a car crash, and it's the operator's issue. So these are the operator's fault. Every single one of these things that I read to you here, there's nothing wrong with the cookware, zero, right? This is absolutely everything to do with the user, and it's a process. It takes some time. That's why I have a YouTube channel, and others like me have YouTube channels that we talk about how to look after cookware all the time. It's a very simple thing. We all kind of get an idea how to cook, but once you introduce iron into your cooking when you've never used iron, you have to relearn how to do things. It just takes some time. And so there's a couple of things that I've written here that I think are important to pay attention to when you're looking for cookware. So, and to also understand, what you buy when you start using it, if you have any of the issues that I just talked about, realize that this is a you problem and not the pan. Just back up, understand there's a step that you've made incorrectly and you've got to redo something and learn where you went left and you should have gone right. So the things that I think are important when you're looking for cookware is weight. Usually heavier is better, but you want to pick up a pan that is as heavy as you can manage. If it's too heavy, you're not going to use it, you're not going to use the pan. So don't buy too heavy, but weight is a really good factor when you're buying iron cookware. And carbon steel, that is. Finish, as in, is it finished nicely? Does it have like good fit and finish? Is the handle comfortable? Was it polished nicely? Is it of a better quality? Or, did you buy something that was kind of crappy made and quickly done and you thought that you bought a good value off of somewhere like Amazon? Spending a little bit more, especially in carbon steel, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a really, really good pan. Pre-seasoned or not pre-seasoned. So seasoning, to be really clear about what seasoning is, seasoning stops a pan from rusting. So it needs to come protected some way from the factory. Pre-seasoning is one way to do that. That does not mean that it's going to be nonstick ready. Some pans can be really good at getting pretty nonstick ready once you get right into them from the seasoning from the factory. Other ones aren't. You just kind of got to get used to or get an understanding of how your pan is and not try to rely upon the seasoning from the factory to make it nonstick. They're two different things. The factory doesn't want it to rust and get damaged in shipping. You need to make it nonstick ready, and that's your responsibility to learn how to do that, no matter how much you spent on the pan. Comfortable handle. I've already talked about fit and finish. Comfortable handle is really important, right? How does that feel in your hand? Do you have a nice leverage on the handle? Are you going to feel comfortable picking that up when it's full of food? That's really important. And then another big one, where is it made? American-made cookware is, on average, some of the best quality cookware made in the world. Europe makes some fantastic carbon steel, of course. South America, I'm seeing some really, really nice stuff coming out of South America that I'm really impressed with. Japan makes some great carbon steel, and historically they've had some really good cast iron, but their carbon seems to be absolutely fantastic. And then I would be really questionable about what's coming out of Asia for iron cookware. I think on an average of just an absolute basic, I think totally fine. But if you're looking to invest in high quality cookware, I wouldn't be looking at Chinese-made cookware when it comes to iron cookware. So anybody else who has anything else to add to my list of things, please add it to the bottom here. Throw a comment in for people that are looking to learn. I'm hoping this video is for the absolute newbie who is just trying to search their way through this confusing world of buying the right pan the first time, because any pan you're going to buy here will last you the rest of your life. So buy it right the first time. So please, anyone, add a comment. Great to hear what everybody has to say. And anybody else who's got comments or questions, throw them below. And thanks so much.